All right, welcome to Rapid Fire Manufacturer. Today we have Beau Groover. He's an expert in helping manufacturing companies improve performance and profitability. With over 20 years of experience, Beau's unique methodology is rooted in the Toyota production system and organizational psychology. It's helped build bulletproof processes and exceptional leadership in organizations. He's also the founder of the Effective Syndicate. Beau, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Are you ready to dive into some questions here?
Absolutely. Let's get after it.
All right. So, from all your experience, what's one leadership move or process improvement that companies tend to overlook, but it can make a huge difference if they got it right?
Yeah, and it's driven by where we are technologically. So the speed of improvement from a technology perspective with AI and automation and robotics and all of that stuff. I think the problem that companies are facing holistically as they're looking at how do they do that is how do you integrate the people with that? So if I'm a manufacturer and I don't have robots, I don't have automation, I don't have AI, and I start announcing it, most of your employees, the first thing they're going to think of is what is this going to do to my job? And so integrating the people and process side together. So we're working at automation, but we're doing it to look for dull, dumb, dirty, and dangerous jobs. We're not looking to replace human beings. That message needs to be said early and often. And I think right now there's companies that are screwing that up a little bit because they're so excited about all this cool technology that's out there.
I like that too. Yeah, so the more often you enforce it, it's like, hey, it's not to necessarily take your job, it's to do some of these repetitive tasks that are, dangerous tasks too, right?
Right. And jobs that nobody wants to do, right? It's not like we're trying to replace really engaged, high, they require thinking, and that is it's the guy who's lifting a box up 400 times a day and is wearing his back out. We can get a robot to do that, right? It's not going to hurt anybody. In fact, it's going to save somebody from getting hurt. And that's, again, the messaging is important. I think too many organizations are jumping into the excitement of the automation, and they're potentially hurting their culture and their the morale in the place.
And it's also creating jobs too, because someone has to run those robots, right? There needs to be programmers and operators on the floor. So there's a new creation of jobs as well, right?
Exactly.
So overtime question, in 5 to 10 years, what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for manufacturers? And this is going to be related to your field.
Yeah, I think it's very much based on the same thing, right? So the speed of artificial intelligence or synthetic intelligence, I'm hearing people say now. How do we integrate all of these things, right? So just because we can do something doesn't always mean that we should do something. And I don't think that that's going to change in the next 5 years. How do we integrate things? How is the supply chain smarter? How is the manufacturing processes smarter? Where are we making things? Here in America, I think we've done a horrible injustice to young people, telling the kids that every kid needs to go to college. And so the replacement rates of all of the blue collar, all of the workers, all of the trade skill crafts are just way, way down. And unless and until we change that, we're going to probably end up in a place where, all right, you're going to have a robot doing your job because we don't have any humans that are willing to do it. And so I think navigating all of that with the generational change, the speed of technology, and now a workforce that has been grown up saying, well, if you don't go to college, you suck. It's going to be hard if you're running a manufacturing company, if you're running a supply chain company, it's not going to get any easier in the next 5 years. I think it's going to get quite a bit more complex and confusing.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's important, like Drew Crow and Andrew Brown for pushing people into the trades and educating younger generations on topics such as, being a plumber or an electrician, or for Drew Crow, it's, machine shops. Like, we need to be involved in trying to help out to educate the, new generation.
Yeah. I wish Mike Rowe could speak at Congress and talk to the local high schools and his dirty job platform and his push for the blue collar trades crafts. It's a message that every school needs to hear, because these kids are growing up in a wild, wild time. If you're not a computer programmer, right? And even that is subject to artificial intelligence. So it's just a wild time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess double OT. So what is the coaching hat? I imagine there's a story behind the hat.
Yeah, so my marketing manager got this for me and kind of surprised it because we struggle internally. There's a lot of bad consultants out there, David, that are consulting companies on Lean Six Sigma leadership, which is our core focus areas. A lot of bad ones out there. And so it's like, all right, we're not really consultants because we want to get the people involved, right? It's not all about the process, but again, it's about that people and process integration. So she said, you're just a coach. And I'm like, all right, well, let's try that and see how it goes. And then she showed me this hat. And I'm like, all right, I kind of like it. So now every time I travel, people say, what do you coach? Which is a great conversation starter, but it wasn't intended to be a marketing tool.
Yeah, that's cool. I need to get one for my son's soccer team. I'll wear that.
There you go. And people ask you all the time, what do you coach? And if
Yeah.
you can go either way. I coach my son's soccer, or I'm coaching manufacturing companies on how to do training better.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Beau. Stay tuned for more insights from leaders in the industry. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.